When I finished playing my guitar at the Lover's Fountain in the Botanical Gardens of Brussels, Belgium, I had played through 2 police cars alternately driving into the park from opposite directions, straight to where I was singing my resistance song, In Victory, over world powers like the European Union and New World Order. And all the young children had come up laughing and singing and dancing around the fountain while I played and sang. And the police watched and listened instead of getting out of their cars and walking through the kids to stop me. It was all so strange, I wasted no time getting out of there when I finished playing. I put the guitar in the case, closed my backpack, swung it over my shoulder, and picked up the guitar to turn around and head out of the park, taking maybe 30 seconds max. Only when I turned to leave, the children were gone. There wasn't a child in sight anywhere in the park. And I should have seen them all walking away from the fountain. Instead, it was as if they had vanished into thin air. I stood stunned beyond belief, having a hard time believing my own eyes, because I had never seen disappearing children before. And the thought hit me, they must have been angels. Of course, they had to be angels, children angels. Otherwise, how could they disappear like that? And I figured they must have come to defend me singing about victory with God in my life over man's dark humanist spiritist powers on earth. So I walked out of the park to catch a tram across town to my hostel, reliving the whole thing moment by moment in my mind. And I got on the tram exhausted, sat back with my backpack and guitar beside me, thinking, what an amazing experience. Last day in Europe. Without a doubt, my coolest live performance ever. Live from Lover's Fountain at the Botanical Gardens in Brussels, Belgium. Outdoor concert with dancing children singers and police escort. After a few minutes on the tram, I reached for my map, but didn't feel it in my backpack, so I started going through the backpack. But I had lost my map, and I realized I was lost in Brussels, Belgium, with the light fading fast in the late afternoon sky. And I sat back thinking, I'm going to need some help. Like I sing in my 2024 single release, This. I rode along like that for maybe 10 minutes, not knowing what to think or do, not knowing where to begin to come up with a solution and figure out how to get back to my hostel. Till a young man in his 20s with a younger brother or kid friend started motioning and talking to me in another language. I turned and looked across the aisle just behind me to my left to see 2 brothers or friends sitting in a seat where it was noticeably brighter than any other seat on the rest of the tram, including mine. So I answered them in English, saying I had lost my map and I was lost. And they kept motioning and talking to me, saying, your stop is coming up. Your stop is the next stop. But they were speaking a language I didn't know. So I said, my stop? As I realized we were understanding each other's languages. And the older guy said, yes, you need to ring the bell and get off at this stop. And I understood it perfectly. So I said, okay, in English, and turned with a glazed look in my eyes, not sure what was happening, till somebody else rang the bell. And the tram came to a stop with the 2 guys urging me, take your things and get off here. This is your stop. So I did what they said. Stood up, gathered my things, said thanks in English, went to the exit door and down the steps off the tram. Looking up the side street as my feet hit the pavement, and there it was, the hostel sign, straight up the hill in the distance. I glanced back at the tram cruising off the Angels. then started hiking up the high hillside to my hostel. So that's where the ending of Miss Mystery comes from. An incredible story and resistance song that turned into another song with the same lyrics and music at the end. So what does it feel like to have supernatural experiences with angels? All I can say is how fortunate I was and thankful, because it could have really been a messy situation. Could have gotten arrested. I don't know what would have happened if they hadn't led me back to my hostel. So, thank you, Lord.